Hello and welcome to the final of the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships for 2019. This is the game we all came to see, and we've got a genuine humdinger. We've got Pie Wagon coming out of Newcastle up against the OG Squiddos, which are a mix between Victoria and New South Wales representatives. This is the one. The crowd's starting to form. Beck, we had Pie Wagon really strong, probably going as the favourites. What have you seen?
Pie Wagon are undefeated to this point. These guys have only met once before, but that was Friday, really early on in the tournament. So everyone's really excited to see what's coming in this game. Speaking to the OG Squiddos a couple of hours ago, they said that they didn't actually play their best when they first met these guys.
They were dirty, weren't they?
So they actually are coming into this pretty pumped, knowing that they can offer a lot more in this game. The last game saw them come, they lost 15-8. So yeah, they can really come back from this. I think they're really fired up, ready to go. Now
conditions have been a talking point throughout the tournament.
Absolutely.
We've seen sun for 5 minutes followed by sheeting rain, sideways wind. Explain the conditions for people at home.
So the wind has started to pick up again, but it does just die suddenly, as we've just experienced just then. So so I think it's going to be a game of completely changing. I think you can't come into this with a strategy of going, all right, the wind is going one way, we just definitely need to be doing more zone. They're just going to have to keep changing it up and playing to the conditions.
Now, obviously, when wind starts to kick up, the throwers and the throwing power becomes really important. Who are the key players from each team that are really going to help when that upwind starts howling?
Well, previously watching Pie Wagon, Chili, my gosh, his throws, consistently pulling the disc and getting it way down the other end, giving his teammates heaps of time to chase it down. Obviously, you got Loco Wise, who loves his quick movement. You can't discredit Holly Reeves, who's been also really instrumental in moving the disc around. You've also got, you've got Tom Tullet, a Tullet who's playing for the OG Squiddos, and Seb, who just bounce off each other really well. Peter Ely as well. But then some of their girls are absolute weapons. I don't think anyone can throw anywhere on either team. It's just amazing.
I've watched a couple of OG Squiddos games, and Georgia Egan Griffiths dropping back into that axis position has just been a genuine weapon the entire time, moving a lot of swings. We've seen OG Squiddos probably be one of the better teams to use the width of the field.
Absolutely.
So you think if they do that, they're certainly in with a crack. So for those at home looking, it is a right to left breeze. You definitely don't want to be stuck in this bottom left corner. So we're going to need a lot of throwing power, and as we said, the team that swings and uses the lateral space, they're probably going to be better off for the rest of the game. So we've got, pardon me, got Ellipsis, or OG Squiddos, in Ellipsis shirts. They all look very sharp in their Ellipsis shirts.
They absolutely do.
Very professional. They are to the left of screen. The Pie Wagon in dark. Up to the right, they'll be moving downwind. But it looks like OG Squiddos starting on defense. Rob Andrew with the disc.
So Pie Wagon have been doing a lot of training leading into this tournament, and that's really showing through their clinical offense, the pressure D. They've been working really hard in the lead up. OG Squiddos, I know, have had a couple of trainings, but they've got that chemistry already there because so many of them have played with each other for so many tournaments in the past. All
right, Beck, off the fence time. Who are you backing?
Look, I'm going to say Pie Wagon are just going to scrape over the edge, but I really think that OG Squiddos are going to make them really work for it. I think it'll be a tight game.
All right, we'll put a beer on it because I'm backing in the OG Squiddos.
All right.
Okay, so we've got a disc now. It will be Rob Andrew, I think, to pulling upwind to Pie Wagon. Moments away from getting this going.
Oh, crowd is getting into it now. Crowd is excited.
And here we go. So Reeves picking up, moves to Wise. Wise outside to Folkes. Folkes has a look. Nice easy under to Tim Hayes. Tim Hayes moves it under. That's Gina Hill. Rob Andrew sitting in the lane now. Loco Wise goes up the line, then back, then up the line again. Rob Andrew playing real tight. Loco a little bit close, but manages to get out a flick bomb to Reeve. Egan Griffiths tracking her down, but it's nice outside in.
You can't leave someone deep, let them streaming deep of you. That's, I think, downfield they've got to play a little bit tighter on defense, OG Squiddos.
They know, especially the likes of Loco Wise. If he sees half a shot, if it's anything over 50%, if it's anything over 30%, the fella's going to put it. So you're spot on. But also to Loco's credit, it is an upwind, downwind, and don't underestimate the difficulty of hitting the downwinds because we've seen plenty fly out the back. So nice, well-weighted throw over Georgia Egan Griffiths' head. Holly Reeves runs onto a relatively easy one in the end.
Now the OG Squiddos did really well to clamp down around the disc. Their defense on the dump, they really forced that really fast, speedy throw through to Loco Wise, making it a really pressured catch for him.
True.
But he just, you know, he'll throw to anywhere he wants to on the field.
Yeah, the dump wasn't too convincing, and he was marked well, certainly for the first 2 cuts.
All right, so Pie Wagon with the first score of our final.
Got the designated pull at Chile all day. Beck, do you think we'll see a Pie Wagon pull that doesn't come out of Chris Hill's hands?
No, I think 100% it's going to be Chris Hill every single time. But why wouldn't you?
Well, you wouldn't, because he's probably bricked it. He's bricked it, so...
My bad.
Seb Barr, in what needs to be said, is in an incredibly tight shirt, really showcasing the rig.
However, in the middle of the field, so can really stretch that shirt to its limits.
Absolutely. So Tim Lindsay Brown marking Seb Barr. They run a primary to the goat. Goat
Looks like a bit of a clam.
Yeah,
a bit of a interesting zone that they've popped on here.
Gets free to tull it.
The 2 girls just in the space, and it looks like a match for the males.
Not convincing here. They're getting the counts reset, but they're not doing it the easy way. Jake Angelovich is on the getaway sticks, and Kim Sprague puts it
up.
Big
There's
boy
2
Jakey.
defenders.
And
there is
there's
a
foul
call
from Jake.
So sandwiched between 2 defenders there. We'll have probably a quick replay coming up. We can have a look here.
Jake moving in. Just legs tangled a little bit. You see Jake lose a bit of balance there. The conversation will be whether it was coming back in, if it did affect the play.
So obviously we've got our game advisors there. They're the 2 people in the green shirts that they are on the sideline just observing what's happening on the field. If the players can't come to an agreement or they aren't quite sure exactly what's happened, they can ask them for advice, but they don't have to listen to it. They can just make the call that they want to call. Sometimes game advisors can really give good advice and influence the decision, but other times some players just stick with what they think.
So Jake's waved it away.
Looks like it's retracted.
I think the challenge for Jake there was that he was running out of space, so there was a decision that needed to be made around but did he still have a play on the disc, really? So Tim Lindsay Brown picking it up. Seb Barr marking him.
Looks like a horror set up by Pie Wagon with match defense. Oh, Chris Hill going long.
TLB on
streaming.
Sticks it. Jake Angelovich all over this one.
All right, and Courtney Thompson just couldn't get there in time.
No, very hard backing into Jake, who had the vertical space. As soon as that just started to fly over. Jake now wide on the swing. Angelovich gets up, long fella. Looks long, doesn't see anything he likes, cycles back to Seb. Seb moves it to the goat. The goat back to Seb. Seb looks at that backhand huck, doesn't have anything to throw to, doesn't like it. Tullett coming hard under. There's a big bid. That's a sick bid.
That was amazing. Great bid there. Huge bid by Shellard.
Sam Shellard, and they're going to go for the quick D, and now Cupcake
Tullett
gets
says,
one
not
through.
in my house. You might get one on me, but I'm getting one back.
Chule gets one back after Shellard. An excellent layout bid right in front of the cameras here. So now, a couple of turns this point, so seeing a grind, which is what we want to see. People want a quick final. Seb gets up the line on TLB.
Girls again playing a bit of a bracket, bit of a triangle here. Down at Sprague's knees there.
They're working at 3 metres at a time up. And Cupcake is going to lose his cool here and put big one.
Over to Edwards, just a bit too far from Edwards' hands.
It didn't straighten out, so TLB running it quick again now to Chris Hill. Hill marked by Angelovich. Hill goes inside. Shellard getting it done both sides of the disc now. Tullett marking him. Moves it back to Tim Lindsay Brown. Lindsay Brown puts a wide one out to Chillbot.
Oh,
that
just
one's
too
out.
far. Too far. Now, Chili's fast. Fortunately, ran out of field space there.
So we've seen about, I think that's a 3rd or 4th turn of the point. And the second one that has been thrown OB.
Now, you're referring to Burchett as the GOAT. Can you explain that a little bit?
The GOAT is an acronym, a millennial acronym, stands for greatest of all time. It's a Callahan!
That's huge!
Shellard
Oh
again!
my gosh!
He's done it again!
Shellard, you'd think that Tullett would learn from the first time. My gosh!
Shellard layout Callahan, that's a huge moment in this game. Pie Wagon take their first break, and they do it with a Callahan. Huge moment, and they are up and about.
They are riding high right now. Shellard just, coming out of nowhere. If we have a look on the screen.
Shellard tracked it early. That's special.
Yep, Shellard said,
Take a
not in
bow.
my house. You are not getting it today, sir.
He's very happy with himself. 2 layup bids in the first point, one of which was a Callahan. Very hungry for it, nice and early. Bar
Now, do you think the tight shirt had something to do with that throw?
He might go and just cut a couple of holes, maybe turn it into a singlet, get the guns out, try and intimidate the other team with the rig. It's got to be said, Shellard playing out of his skin in that first point.
Now, the thing is, I think that Tullett has now walked straight to the line. He's going back on. Bit of fire in the belly now. Yeah. I'm thinking he's going to want to get them back.
Yeah, it might be the Tullett show in this next point. Every second pass kind of stuff. All right, Tim Lindsay-Brown outside in pool will come back in and land safely. Chule himself will be picking it up, and he throws a nice gain at Egan Griffiths. With a little bit of unintentional contact to Ely. Adelaide's going real at pace. Ely doesn't like it, too much traffic in the way. Egan Griffiths shakes and bakes, then sees
Sprague
out free. Sprague, they continue to play this little, slightly junky defense. So Prentice to Tullett. Tullett, nothing much doing in the stack, and the girls once again playing on from Pie Wagon, playing quite poachy, not allowing anything up the line. Ely holds it, moves back, throws it just behind Egan Griffiths, but she manages to reel it in. Egan Griffiths engages Prentice. Great little inside-out flick down the line. Prentice isolates Tullett. Tullett a metre out, hits Ely up the line, and the bromance grows.
Now, we've seen this before, where teams have tried to play a bracket, try to have their girls, one sitting in the open lane, one sitting on the break side, against the OG Squiddos. They they see it straight away, and they look for that open female. The girls are just switched on, and they recognise it straight away, and they just rip it to shreds.
And I think part of the reason they recognise it so early is because they play it on their defence.
Absolutely.
So they go, okay, this looks familiar, and make the necessary adjustments. So some really nice throws, particularly G to Prentice.
It'll be interesting to see if Pie Wagon try that again, or if they leave it alone now.
I don't mind it because the 2 OG Squiddo games we've seen is they really send people up the line. They're sending handlers, male and female, up the line. Egan Griffiths is probably the only one that sits back as a bit more of that reset handler.
That's true.
But you see Tullett go up the line, you see Sebo go up the line. So if for nothing else, they get to stop that and slow that down, that's a really good outcome.
All right, so we finally see OG Squiddos getting one on the board.
2-1, the breakdown breakdown still. An outside in, go to the back of the end zone, and Chris Folkes pick up, move to Locko Wise.
Yeah,
Locko Wise holds it, and eventually hits lefty. Man with the rudest haircut in Australian Ultimate right now.
Sporting the dusty.
Moves under, that's very close, but I think we're going to call it up. That's Gina Hill taking it off her bootlaces, which is nice. Chris Hill covered really well by Rob Andrew. Locko Wise being marked by Tom Tullett. Locko Wise gets it, looks flick, has nothing coming up in. Rob Andrews sitting in the lane, which gives the easy reset to Chris Hill. Chris Hill throws, hits under, hits Greening. Greening moves it in, a little bit of contact, but that's okay. That's Gina Hill. Gina winds up the flick, doesn't like it, thinks better of it. And this week, Cupcake's chance to beat, he didn't. Locko Wise had the shot as well, but there's going to be a pick call. I think that's a pick on Chris Hill.
He wanted that. He was looking downfield. He wanted to send that.
So as we were saying, sorry, Bet, we were talking about the GOAT.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Millennial term for greatest of all time.
So the team, OG Squiddo, is telling us before that she has been instrumental. We see Locko put it up. Oh, Folkes just brings it down with a massive grab.
Had both Sebo and Rob Andrew closing in, but that was put back corner, pretty pinpoint.
And, you know, Chris Folkes is normally the one throwing them.
Yep.
Good to see him on the receiving end.
So Pie Wagon with the edge, 3-1, they lead. You technically call that one an upwinder, but there's not too much to speak of right now, and I think we're certainly not going to see, 1 or 2 upwinders. I think we'll say probably 6 or 7 throughout the course of the game.
Absolutely. And we see OG Squiddos looking a little bit tired. We're very early in the game. They're looking a little bit tired. You look at Pie Wagon, everyone's on the field. They're kneeling down. They're having a bit of a chat.
Having a laugh. We've sat here on camping chairs. This is their 12th game, and you're throwing shade at them.
We're not throwing shade.
That's a bit rich. They're tired.
Yeah.
We'd be
Hey,
dead.
look, I've been standing here walking around.
Yeah, we're a bit sunburnt. We're
Yeah.
really putting in too.
Hey.
Yeah.
But there's a reason we're not playing and they are.
That's true.
They made the decision.
Yeah. And you know, I bet I'm more happy I'm here than out there.
Exactly.
That. So, Pie Wagon, noses in front. 3-1. Squiddos now needing to put in the upwinder. Crowd building. Good to see a lot of people sticking around. A few buckets of KFC have appeared, so.
All right, Sprague with the disc. Centers it to Cupcake, or to Tullett, over to Georgia. Edie Griffins. And then, Peter Ely wants it deep, but, so they've, gosh, Pie Wagon bit the bait. They followed Peter Ely, leaving Rob Andrews free, but the throw still went to Peter Ely. Oh. Pie Wagon, they've got it sitting in the corner. Oh. Just thrown a bit too quickly by Thompson. Tried to get it in there, but unfortunately.
Edwards out back, can't hit it.
Centers it back to Tullett. Tullett's looking, there's not many options coming from downfield.
It's dry, the stack is so dry.
Andrews. Looking back, they're having to look at their dump quite early because there's not a lot of movement downfield.
It's got to be said, Shellard is doing an absolute number on Tullett at the moment. Pick called.
Pick called. Andrews is a bit frustrated by that because he had his next throw in mind, ready to go.
Yeah, and it was to McGuckin. McGuckin's opponent. Was it Tim Hayes? It is Tim Hayes.
Yeah, having a bit of a chat about how far he gets to come to catch up.
And that was absolutely Rob's intended receiver.
Absolutely.
McGuckin alongside Edwards being the two deepest.
And McGuckin's a brilliant receiver, so you see him streaming,
yeah,
you are ready to put it. All right, so Andrews brings it back in.
He gives the nod.
He's still looking at McGuckin, who turns it into an undercut. Brilliant undercut there.
Edwards is gone.
Up the line.
Sick.
Georgie, who can see, to Tullett. Tullett just grabs it and keeps it in.
But again, Shellard absolutely wearing him like a shadow.
And stuck in this corner, gets it out. Georgie, amazing centering. Thinking about her next throw, you can tell she's grumpy to herself for that one.
But she's been the essential cog of this offense.
Absolutely.
Like that lateral movement is exactly what we talked about early on in the game.
TLB, pass it over to Hayes. Hayes gets it across. Greening back to Hayes. TLB opening up the side of the field. Thompson going deep. She's running.
Got half a
great
hand.
Layout.
Half a hand.
Great attempt there.
She might be a bit tender.
She was working hard to get there. She's just getting some air in. Yep, injury called. She did well to get there. Unfortunately, just a little bit too much put on that disc, particularly the wind obviously has picked up again a little bit.
Good work
sent it out in front of her.
Good work from Chris Stoddard, who, when he's not knocking over 7-Elevens, is actually a qualified physio.
So, you'd look at him, you'd think he's a bit hard, but then, you see something like that, goes against a haircut, doesn't it?
He's also got a heart of gold. Heart of gold.
All right,
but
Tullett.
You would cross the road if he was walking down your sidewalk.
Tullett going to pick up the disc. And it looks like they've gone to a horror here for the OG Squiddos, maybe to get a bit of movement downfield, because that's what they've been lacking in their last few offensive points. All right, so we've just been told from the sideline, just a bit of a winded, apologies, but she'll be right to come back on.
McGuckin's going to go early. Instead, they ISO to Egan Griffiths. A lot of space on the open side.
You've got Andrews and Griffin going to the same space. Griffin pointing to where she wants the players to go. No one goes there.
McGuckin, Hayes is stepping off McGuckin. Like, McGuckin went, and Hayes didn't follow him. Instead, ran into the lane to stop the upline cut from Cupcake.
Just a bit too low for Peter Ely there. McGuckin's been signalling for it across field, but with this little bit of breeze,
you've got to actually run as well. You can't
absolutely.
You're not Tony Lockett in the goal screen. You've got to actually run.
TLB centers it to Stoddard. Stoddard looks at, send it big back to TLB, 2 against 1. Oh,
Nice
just
work, Pete Ely.
Just got the front position.
Good read.
Managed to get up.
And again, the cut's not coming.
So,
Egan Griffith's the only one moving with any source of intent.
oh, Andrew sends it up
Andrews
to
has
McGuffin.
seen
This
enough.
is what he's wanted. This is what he's wanted for the past point and a bit.
Oh,
and he doesn't get it.
Oh, Sam,
Oh,
what have you done?
Andrews has been wanting that throw.
That's broken Rob's heart. That's broken Rob's heart. And Sam did all the hard work.
He did.
He'd beaten his opponent.
Hazen
Hazen
even
almost given
tripped.
up. And I think we're going to see a
Oh,
timeout.
timeout. Here we go. Timeout.
So we're going to pass over to Simon Talbot. Simon, you've been collecting the scores and results from throughout the tournament. You want to give us a rundown?
Yes, I have. With all other games finished, we'll give you a quick rundown on how your team's done this weekend. We'll start from the bottom. So the 15th place game between Royal Danske out of Victoria and VLS ended up in Royal Danske's favour, getting their first win for the tournament, 13-10. Finishing in 13th place was CAF, defeating F-Troop for 14th, 13-10 in that final game. 2 Victorian teams finishing 11th and 12th, with Ballarat getting up 9-8 in the thriller over Sunflowers. Best result for Ballarat at this tournament before. Sublime from WA took out 9th place, 15-5 over Vanguard out of South Australia. In the 7th, 8th place playoff, Lunchbox out of Brisbane in a tight one, 9-7 over Crank. Both teams doing very well in pool play, nearly pushing for top 6. And Hills out of Sydney taking care of Credo from New Zealand for the 5th place playoff. And of course you saw earlier the 3rd bronze medal playoff with Soy Pud taking care of Karoma. Just been hanging out the sideline. It's 2 very different energies on the sideline, Beck and Andrew. We've Wagon are giving very specific direct instructions on defence, helping out teams take care of the switches. They've really got a system with how they speak to each other from the sideline, giving nice, clear, direct messages, helping out with switches, helping out with poaching. And they're really always trying to take care of getting some switches, looking for those up-the-line shots that OG Squiddos take. It's been fascinating to be on the sideline and hearing just exactly how they talk to each other.
Absolutely. Now, just listening to the Pie Wagons chat there at halftime, they're playing a 2-5 Horo. The message was just grind, grind. It's that point in the tournament. Just play their clinical offense. If they get the score, that's unreal. If they don't, just keep grinding, get it back. They believe they're in control of this game.
Message from the OG Squiddos. First one was from Rob Andrew, who said, let's commit to our swings. And also, if you're going up the line, make sure you continue that and clear out deep. Second message was from Jake Angelovich, who said, let's catch the Frisbee in the box and add 1 to our score as we see TLB go long. But there's a call.
So there was a bit of a connect between the feet there.
But then I think Tim Lindsay Brown called it, then caught it anyway, but knew he'd called the foul prematurely. So I think it's going to stay with Lindsay Brown.
Now he's got a couple of players next to him, no one in front of him.
Does the smart thing.
So gets
Stoddard.
it over to Stoddard. Back to Lindsay Brown. Oh, he's wide open. Wide open, just leaving that shot there to be taken. Absolutely great eyesight there. And OG Squiddos just being a bit complacent on defense there.
Yeah, I mean, that was a shot to the open side. So,
yeah.
Oh, there was some confusion with the force, but...
Yeah, at this level, sorry, not an excuse.
yeah. Especially coming out of a timeout when hopefully you've been reminded of what your force is. On top of the very powerful message of let's score in the box and add 1 to our score. You also probably want to follow through with, by the way, this is going to be our force.
And great recognition by Doherty, not cutting, just recognising that he's sitting there in space, doesn't need to move.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't even need to work for this. Taking advantage of the situation and the lack of defence.
So Pie Wagon making the statement early out of 4-1 lead.
All right, let's see if OG Squiddos listen to the messages delivered by Rob Andrews. Start to swing it a little bit more. And from Jake to get it in the box.
Yes. Sometimes the best messages are the most simple, Beck.
That's true.
I was actually on board with it. All right, Rig Show, Bar. Looks to break the flick.
Looking a bit of a zone here.
It is a junk look. So Prentice,
over the top.
Scuba to the goat. Back to Prentice.
The girls just ripping it up here.
Now to Josh. Josh back to Adelaide. There we go. Hopefully that'll give them a little bit of mojo back.
Those girls just ripped through that zone. Yeah. Found all the gaps, found all the spaces. I don't know if we'll see that zone back again from Pie Wagon.
No, that was borderline clinic, I'd say.
Very quick score from OG Squiddos there.
Space both through the cup as well as around it.
So Prentice doing a lot of the work with the disc through that one, getting almost every second pass in that last point.
Simon, what are you seeing?
What I'm seeing, we saw that zone from Pie Wagon. What it looks like, we saw this in the semi-final. They're really suckering teams into throwing leading passes into that middle space and closing in on it. OG Squiddos were quick to recognise it, and we just launched it over the top. We saw that little flip pass over the top to Burchett, and that just broke it wide open. So fast disc movement is the key to breaking open this Pie Wagon zone.
Absolutely, and I guess Pie Wagon just relying on that wind a little bit to do a bit of work for them when those ones are getting popped over the top.
Yeah, as you said, Beck, interesting call from Pie Wagon to go to a junk look, as we see Rob Andrew probably land a brick. Yep.
So it looks like a side stack here. So
What's your
Pie
pick?
Wagon choosing to stack all on one side, put all their players on one side of the field to leave more space, looks like for Loco Wise.
Wise to Reeve.
To just have all of this space for him to cut into.
So McGuckin following him, gives him the under. Now lefty, and then Holly Reeve, nice big
there we
gainer.
go.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Open to L Wise. L Wise looks to flick, goes to no look. Lefty backhand to lefty. Lefty under inside. Moves it to Holly Reeves. Reeves to Folks. Folks hits Greening half a foot inside the end zone. That is pinpoint.
Pie Wagon just, everyone's open.
That was,
Everyone's an option.
I felt like the OG Squiddos were almost just scared of getting the deep shot put on them. There were 2 or 3 unders in a row there.
Absolutely. And Pie Wagon, credit to them, they just recognise that and just hit the open unders all day, every day. So
Andrew and Beck, I've just noticed on Pie Wagon's offense, Squiddos are paying most of their attention to Wise and Reeve. We saw that they got those first 2 looks, but most of the damage has been done by Chris Stoddard and, as we said, Eliza Greening, who ended up getting the goal here. They're just staying stationary out of the stack, and as soon as that opening move comes through Wise and Reeve, they just attack, and that's why we're seeing them so open, is the Squiddos just aren't paying as much attention to those 2 as they should.
yeah, Greenie having a huge impact on this game.
Absolutely.
She's absolutely dominating the stats at the moment. All right, as called, Chris Hill pulling the disc.
Julie Poole. I've known Chile for 10 years, and he's still the dude, like in between games, just having a throw with his mate out.
Absolutely,
He's
with the biggest grin on his face.
He's worn out like
The
all of
biggest
his
grin on his face.
teammates because no one wants to throw with him anymore. He's the one constant, as we see Prentice pick up, throw to Tullett. Tullett's going to look under to Ely, can't get it. A little bit of confusion so in the stack, so Tullett elects to dump it to Seb. Seb Barr might be looking at one here. He's going to send one. He's going to send it to McGuckin. It's not going to get over Hill, who manages to get a D.
So Pete Ely in the middle there, just getting
tangled.
really frustrated. You know, the horror play, you've got to give a bit of space and work with a partner.
He's going to run it quick here.
Oh. He's looking.
Shellard's nice and deep with Cupcake baiting him to throw it, and this one's going to go right to the
he tries to keep it in.
The sideline, and we're going to have a chat.
Looks to the
Observer,
sideline.
sorry, game advisor in the spot-on position. So, and they're suggesting out.
Okay,
And
gone with the
Timothy
game
Brown,
advisor.
Decent fella, accepts the call of the game advisor. You see Egan Griffiths once
have
again.
an opportunity here to score.
Tullett doesn't like the break shot from Sam. Instead hits the open shot.
He did see he was going to do that earlier, and then Peter Ely was like, oh, not yet.
Yeah, I think the fake was so convincing. The entire Pie Wagon defender stack had a look and went, okay, this is going to go break, and left the open there to be thrown to.
Now
so Squiddos desperately needed
Squiddos started with that horror setup, and then they went to go straight to vert, and yeah, just a little bit of confusion from the cutters downfield.
As we watch, Lindsay Brown did his best to drag his foot, but I think his foot was on the line as he started the drag. And then we watch Egan Griffiths once again just commanding And Lindsay Brown has come over just to make sure, mate. I can tell you right now, the game advisor who was standing 5 metres from you probably had a better view than us. But good on you for accepting the call.
Absolutely. Considering you had teammates as well giving you the indication that it was actually in.
Tim, are you having fun this game at least?
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
my teammates.
You
It's
do?
a good time.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
having fun? You know you've got a medal coming out of this, regardless of the colour.
Actually, I want to talk to Simon back here because 2006 Newcastle won its nationals and the tournament organising committee forgot to organise medals.
Oh,
Do you know what I like about
Pretty
you?
keen to
You
get a
never,
goal today.
you never hold a grudge. That's what I like about you, Tim Lindsay.
all right. Locko, nice easy pass there to Chris Folkes, who just throws a bit too far in
Here we
front,
go.
bit too far right at Greening. Takes it to Tullett, who centres it. But again, there's no movement downfield for him.
Very dry in the stack. It's a desert. It's barren.
Oh. Andrews and Locko Wise, good match up there.
Andrews is not. Tullett literally laughed at Andrews' cut. That's how putrid it was. He actually laughed. He's like, "Are you serious, mate? Is that what you're going to call a cut? This jogging banana garbage. I can't throw to that. Not even Cupcake will throw that." Oh, my. And they're moving further back. Lefty face marking. Secept just throws it. Nice reset. And now Cupcake's on his bike.
Oh, Tullett
Does
just
well.
gets there.
And there's a pick, but
another
it'll stay.
pick, but which is Adelaide's going to be a bit annoyed about because she was
She was out.
ready and streaming downfield.
But Reeves is still going to give it a space. Yep.
Yeah, she just had so much on her player, and Tullett was in power position, ready to go. So he's had to reel that in.
Oh, now Andrews makes something resembling a cut, and he's going to go.
Oh,
Oh, no!
jumps too early. Jumps too early. Though it was an interesting fake, I'll be honest.
At least he made the cut. The
That's
Cupcake
true.
was like, you know what? Baby steps. Give me something.
Oh.
And we see another put straight out. That's his Reeves to Locko Wise, chasing it down. Go on, Locko! Oh,
Forcing Locko to get on his guts.
had a dip. Had a dip. Couldn't get it done. That's love. Yes, yes.
So great put there by Holly Reeves.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably put that one on Locko. Didn't send it.
All right, so let's see if we get a bit more movement downfield. Spragg with the early cut.
You know what? It's better than nothing. And
Absolutely.
Andrew off the back. Fantastic break from Seb. Dennis is gone, but Andrew doesn't want anything to do with it. Instead, looks back at the dump. Cupcake gives up some ground. He's got a swing
Spragg
to
is
Spragg.
there.
Thank Lord for that.
Oh,
And again,
another
another pick.
pick.
You mentioned it before, the pick. So you mentioned about the pick when Adelaide was free.
Yeah.
It's not just about the team or the couple that are cutting, causing the pick. It's what the other effects that has on the rest of the teammates downfield, like Adelaide, who was free as a bird.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, Spragg throwing it straight to Lefty. Lefty stole
My
it.
gosh.
He stole it. It was theft because of that
Oh.
haircut. Goes
Ooh,
upstairs.
Cupcake nearly gets a hand to it.
Yeah.
Nearly gets a hand to it.
If Cupcake was a
I wonder
regular-sized
if,
human, he would have got it.
The OG Squiddos are just getting a bit confused about jersey colour.
Oh, well, it's been a talking point this tournament, but what we will say, they look very good. Simon, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we obviously saw the cuts dried up there from the OG Squiddos. What was happening is they were waiting for their throwers to get in power position. And you could see them take off from the back of the stack. Dennis especially just kept working that deep space. But because they've had a couple of skill errors so far, the throwers have lost confidence and they're not putting those shots up that they would have earlier. So there's a bit of a disconnect between the throwers and the cutters at the moment. They do need to have a chat and reset their offensive plans.
So the man with the fiercest nut on the field gets the catch run through D. He's pretty happy with himself. Nice big smile.
And then gives it to Locko Wise for the score.
Did go upstairs, you said, Beck.
It's an interesting choice to throw.
Yeah.
Cupcake looks
Great
like
pivot.
he's...
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
He got something on it, I reckon.
Very close to it. Now, you'd think that Wagon would stick to their match defence here. It's been working for them well so far.
Why would you say that?
Because they did
Got
do a
torn
junk at
freshly
one
on the
time.
last one. Yeah, okay,
Absolutely.
that's fair enough. Very
Making obvious points.
much more diplomatic way of saying it.
Yeah. All right. And we have OG Squiddos.
Need to put this win in to maintain.
And
its
we've
touch.
got Egan Griffith picking up the disc, looking for Tullett. Nice quick one across. Oh, looks to send it to Peter Ely. And, oh, is that in? No.
It's not. And you're going to see the replays, and I'm not sure if you're going to see it, but on the left side, down the bottom, you're going to see Sam McGuckin absolutely free. The reason you see him free is because his defender had gone and played double coverage on the deep shot to Ely.
So we got Crow with the disc. Looking for help from a dump, not really coming.
Oh, great bid by Tim Lindsay-Brown. He's having a hard time with that far sideline.
Absolutely. Oh, and there's a call. Just
stall.
Oh, stall, right. So a bit of a discussion happening as to whether or not the disc stays over at the sideline or if it comes back to where Crow had it.
I think it is going to be an uncontested stall given that they're discussing it.
So Crow looked a little bit under pressure there, and she only had one dump option, who was standing directly in front of her, not really presenting many options.
So I'm not sure if we're going to get a look. No, they're going to play on now. So they are going to...
all right.
It was a contested stall, so it's going to be taken from where the turn occurred.
With Egan Griffith going to pick up the disc.
This offense, at least the structure looks a little clearer now. So Kim Sprague will be playing as the ISO, Tullett back as the dump. Sprague.
Straight to Tullett, who wanted that continue, and it wasn't there.
Egan Griffiths was free, but Tim Lindsay-Brown stepped off to poach,
Prentice
and now that
did
creates
very well there.
Creates the space and the separation, and Ely eventually gets it.
So you'll
Georgia
notice
Egan Griffiths, the star at that point, like just kept the cycle going.
Absolutely. So they've started to swing it, move it quickly.
Lateral space, exactly.
Absolutely. You'll notice though in when Prentice had the disc, there was a little bit of contact there. Some players choose to call it, stop the play, but for them, so we'll probably have a look at it here. So didn't quite know what to do. So he's giving it to Prentice. There's a bit of contact. She just ignores it, plays through it to allow the continue.
And nice work from Pete Ely. He saw that TLB peeled off when Georgia Egan Griffiths went up the line free. You can still see Pete right here on that on his left. All that space for Tullett to throw into. So OG Squiddos maintain touch. It's 4-6. They do need to change the game. Yeah, it's 4-6.
All right.
That would be 6-4.
Incy is saying that this is exactly where they want him. Yeah. Always a positive member of a team. Always looking at the cup as half full.
Yeah.
All right. So we see Pie Wagon on offense for the first time in a little while. And Rob Andrews with the pull.
Nice pull. That's staying in. That's right down the tee. Locker wise. Catch it, moves it to Chris Folkes. Gets there, not convincing. Folkes, looks flick, goes the flick inside. That's to Greening. Greening has Reeves coming up through the middle. Looks her off. Good cover from Dennis. Goes to Lefty.
Ooh.
Lefty looks to the other Stoddard.
Oh.
Nice attempt.
Flores nearly getting the D there.
So this is to Stoddard. There's a face mark, so Lefty's waiting for it, but Stoddard doesn't want anything to do with it. Instead, she jacks a stall 9, sidearm. Just a little bit of a miscommunication between the Stoddards. Chris Stoddard wanted a, because it was a face mark, Chris wanted that throw to go from Jess out into space. That said, to be fair to Jess, Rob Andrew, you'll see that he was kind of doing a little bit of both. So he'd be face marking for 70% of the time, but then would check back in with the disc and see what Jess was doing. So I think some pretty good defense there from Rob Andrew.
Now we might see a step up from Locko Wise's performance because the pants are off.
Oh, wow.
So
more throwaways, you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know if it means more throwaways.
Locko's gone
right there we go.
He's poked.
Here we go.
That's the throw. Well done.
Well done. Open that up there. So McGuckin now on our sideline here. Trying to get it off. Hit Seb back. Not really any of that secondary flow going on. To Flores. Flores has it on the far sideline. Looking to centre it. But just D's too good. Egan Griffith, just always that reset in the middle. Just reliable, always there. Looks for the give-go. Andrews looks it off.
The first cut coverage from Pie Wagon is what's slowing this defense
Absolutely.
down. OG Squiddos have had 3 days of being used to being quick enough to have their first option sent. As we see, Rob gets a big swing out. McGuckin's deep, but now he's sitting too deep. He made his cut off Rob, which meant he was too deep for Seb. That said, Locko's taken his pants off, which means he's going to poach more. So McGuckin can pretty much have whatever he wants because Locko
there we go.
is nowhere near him. Even now, doesn't want to mark him. Seb Barr over to Egan Griffiths, running the offense. McGuckin's gone, and leaves. This time it leaves Rob Andrew poached.
Oh, look who's on him, Loco-wise.
Yep.
Oh, a bit
Two
too far.
shots,
Oh,
Adelaide.
Dennis has it.
Ooh, okay.
Now
yep.
they're right on their end zone. Out to
That's
Dennis.
unreal.
Oh, gets it.
G to Dennis. Sick.
Cram it up the
That's very
sideline.
good. No, you know what?
Cram it in.
It works. Do it. Do it.
All
That's
right,
very nice.
Simon,
They're all up and
what have
about.
you got to add?
I was just keeping an eye on Adelaide Dennis at that point because I've seen her generate a lot of those cuts from the back. She put in work. I reckon I saw her put in at least 8 or 9 repeat sprint efforts over about 20 to 30 metres. She would have almost comfortably covered a good 500-600 metres at that point at full pace. That's amazing work rate and amazing effort.
And that's
Deserves
the
a goal.
difference between her and her teammates. We were just saying before, they're so used to the OG Squiddos, so used to putting in a foot race.
Yeah.
And quick people like G, like Rob Andrew, they're used to, you know what, I'll just make one cut under and that'll probably be enough.
Yep.
They're being marked now by people like Lefty, people like TLB will go, I'll stay with you for the first cut, so you're going to need to do something else.
They have to put in those second efforts. The rest of the OG squares need to look at Dennis's effort at that point, and that's the standard they need to get to.
So I think we've got a timeout call here, so we're going to get around and see if we can get some messages. Simon, we might stay with you and we'll go see if we can get a message. But right now, the important fact of the game is the OG Squiddos have broken to make it 5-6. They trail Pie Wagon by 1.
Now, you even notice that during this timeout that's happening, we've got the OG Squiddos have gone to get a drink, reapply sunscreen, a bit scattered, and you've got your Pie Wagon that are all together, tight-knit, having a chat as a team.
They've been on message the whole game. All the talk on the sideline has been they're always chatting about what's next, the adjustments they're going to make. They're striving for perfection here. Near enough is not good enough for these guys. Meanwhile, Squiddos, they don't seem to have much of a plan. They're just kind of thinking their natural game's going to get it done. And of course...
So go over to have a chat to find out from the Squiddos the game plan, and then the timeout ended. So
they're just going to get out there. They just want to get out there and keep working. But if they are going to have that chat, their message needs to be about those repeat efforts. Those first ones being covered, like Andrew said. They need to keep going and provide second efforts.
I don't think OG Squiddos need another message. They've had Jake's message, catch the plastic thing in the box more than the other team, and then you get a medal.
yeah.
So I don't think
Well,
they
they're
need
getting
to
a medal either way.
complicate it by that. So the message out of Pie Wagon was just an observation that the defensive intensity was really, really strong at the start of the game. It's probably half a step up. So the call was from Chris Folkes to the team just to say, remember how we came out, had them really rattled. We need to get back to that intensity. We need to hold that intensity for the remainder of the game.
Absolutely. So game is 6-5. So Squiddos have brought it back. Definitely have brought it back. Definitely sniffing point of this game, but it just still feels like Pie Wagon have control of it.
Agreed. But I tell you what, 2 breaks.
That doesn't
story
take much
starts
to
change.
completely change this game. And I think Squiddos know it. There's enough experience on that team.
And I wouldn't mind seeing like a transition junk, something just
Yeah.
it's coming out of a timeout. People like to call that string, especially if they've just been broken, right? Let's go back to something a bit more structured. So the pool's gone up, and it's bold, Holly Reeve, and she's not rushing. So did she touch it?
I feel like she did.
I thought she did.
I definitely thought she did. Oh, they're having a bit of a chat about
Yeah,
it.
no, okay, they're accepting it. There was a little bit of wobble in disc anyway.
All right, so we've seen this before, an isolated player out in the space. Chili on Tullett.
Go on, Tullett. Nice throw from Reeve. Chili goes, sends one.
Oh,
that
up to
Greening?
Greening. Yep.
And that's a goal. That was a string play. We called it.
Brilliant work there. Greening is she's
That's
ripping
lightning.
it up.
Yeah, that's lightning.
She's just solid disc, watches the disc into her hands. She's so steady when she gets it.
Brilliantly weighted throw too from Chris Hill. Actually, both those throws. So Holly Reeve hitting Chris exactly where she wanted to, threw him into the space, gave him power position, and then Chilbot on that first count, able to send one upwind. And that's going to be flattening for the OG Squiddos because they've just come off a couple of decent points, putting some pressure on point after point, as we see here. Just enough space. Cupcake kind of baiting him to throw that huck, not getting around at all on that first count. And then Greening, reasonably straightforward throw to Chris Stoddard.
Haircut's paying off.
The haircut is, but well, I'd want to do something because he's gonna be stuck with that for the next few weeks.
Again, we saw that isolated player wasn't the main target. They were there just to get the offensive moving. Greening and Stoddard are their offensive targets. The Squiddos need to pay the most attention to them and not be too concerned with that first look.
Simon, stop telling the people at home. Go and tell the poor OG Squiddos that obviously you've said this 3 times. They're not adjusting. Throw them a bone, Simon. He's
pulling up chat to be.
I don't know if you've noticed this, mate. Yeah. All right.
Centers it to Bar. Finds Inzi in the middle. Just so
Bar.
easy.
Egan Griffith's gone. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He knows Guk is basically poached all game. Seb Bar gets
tight
back.
shirt, giving him a bit of aerodynamics.
Here he goes. He sent one to the Guk. It's going to come back. It's going to hold it. Come on up.
That's out. Too far. Right idea.
Right, spot on. I was just about to say that's the right shot.
So now they've just got to clamp it down in this corner.
At least that was one of the first times in the last few points that we actually saw space out the back from the OG Squiddos. We've been seeing a few cuts go, and they kind of hang out there a little bit. At least Seb had space to throw into.
All right, so it looks like the 2-5 Horo set up. They center it straight away. Lost opportunity for Squiddos to really trap it down there.
Shellard back to TLB. TLB has 2 going. He sends
Hayes has been working to get that open.
Joe Shaw!
Huge.
It's a mum.
He's back. He's back.
Big man. Like that. Now he's got to finish the job and does so with a dump. And there is nothing happening.
She's calling for the stack on her.
Yeah.
But it's just stopped the play.
Sebo's got a punch of time out here.
Oh, that was an interesting
anything
throw.
But convincing.
The wind has picked up a little bit.
Cupcake is stitching and cutting everyone else off, and it just works.
So Inzi goes, he wants it. Tullett winds up, but doesn't send it.
But now the stack's starting from too far
Edwards
deep.
is coming under hard. Just too many people in that space.
That's an unreal break.
Sends it to Spragg. Spragg's now looking for that next pass. Looks to center it to Tullett. But Tullett doesn't have that second swing coming across.
Stack's sitting too deep. Neither
Prentice
nice break.
does very well to get open there. Sends it
go.
to Edwards. And Edwards, great grab!
Get around there.
Grab!
Get around there. Full stretch.
Brilliant throw there by Prentice to see that. And Edwards she'd been wanting that cut for the last couple of throws.
Yep. But then Cupcake or Tom Tullett playing Prentice into a great power position with a good wide break. Now gives the OG Squiddos another sniff.
And the wind's picked up a little bit. So
How's
for Prentice
Inzi?
to get that up there, she did very well to time that.
Yeah.
We look at it here.
Well done. The
such
shake and bake from
position.
Cupcake. That's
Just
nice.
Sits really nicely. And Edwards, wonder if that's a bit of that AFL training going on there. Ready to stretch and get it up. And so OG bring it back to 1 point difference.
We got a game.
Oh, we always did.
We got a game.
We always did.
You called it. You said Pie Wagon by 10.
I did, that's true. I didn't say Pie Wagon by 10.
I think you said Pie Wagon by 10. That's what I heard.
You just want a beer.
That's what comes with 15 years of friendship. I think you understand that. All right, Rob Andrew now. He manages to keep this one in, and it's good because it's a roller. It'll put a little bit of pressure on folks. It puts a little bit of pressure on folks. Manages to recover. Shoots to Locko Wise. The big tamale he wants to be known as. Locko Wise to lefty.
It's a bit of a...
Locko Wise goes up the line, and it was too close. Locko's been too close on the dump all weekend. The big tamale turns it.
Well, the cuts from Pie Wagon downfield were not very convincing.
Yeah, nothing good from the big tamale, so the little burrito is going to pick it up. Let's see what he can do.
So this is for OG to bring it to level scores. Looks off.
Egan Griffiths goes and Cupcake right with him.
Cupcake, he wants this.
Here we go, pushy. A push pass for the goal.
That's in. That's in. We now have even scores. It's 7-all. OG could bring this back to take half. OG's, they've been trailing all game. They've managed to bring it back.
Here's the momentum.
Starting to happen.
Just get him back in there. Get him back.
Seb's doing the squats in his tight shirt. I don't know about that. So OG Squiddo are looking a little bit more energized than we've seen them for the rest of the game.
They're up and about. And they are the kind of team, actually both Pie Wagon and Squiddos are the kind of team that play a lot better when they just focus more on having fun.
Absolutely.
I think even
Absolutely.
TLB remembers how to have fun. And his
At
team love
times.
it. He loves his teammates. Now Sebo, again, busting out the electric boogaloo in a shirt that just won't accept that kind of punishment. It
I
will
don't know.
rip.
It's lasted all weekend.
It will rip.
I wonder whose shirt that actually is.
It's Georgia Egan.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you'll see
Hence
it.
the different body shapes.
And we've got a subtitle here called Galaxy Point. Don't know what that's about, but anyway.
We'll just keep rolling with the punches here, shall we? All right, Pie Wagon are ready to go. OG is still figuring out what they're doing.
I can hear Mike Baker sacking someone from multi-TV right now. All right, here we go. This is the big point. As we see L-Wise, confusion from Folkes and Greening, both going to the same spot. L-Wise looks for the break flick,
Hill is
decides not.
sitting there open. There you go, she gets the disc.
Great flick back into Folkes. Folkes to Greening.
Oh,
And 2 go. Got Loco Wise going. Comes under.
oh, the pants are definitely off.
Yeah,
Look at
this
Loco
is-
cutting.
This is, if you are Mark and Loco,
Oh, get it. Oh.
it's Greening.
All
That's a
right,
goal.
so Pie Wagon take half.
There we
But
go.
OG, they've lifted.
We got a game.
They've
We got a
definitely
game.
lifted.
All right, so we're going to take a couple of minutes break. We're going to get in on the huddles of both teams. We might try and get an interview with someone, see if Simon or Dan can track someone down. But for now, it's the Pie Wagon leading the OG Squiddos 8-7. We'll see you shortly for the second half. Okay, so we've got 2 representatives from the OG Squiddos coming out of half. What was the message, chaps?
Well, the big win is that we were down 8-1 last time, and it's 8-6 this time. So it's
actually even better. It's 8-7.
8-7 this half. There you go.
We had to wrap up the defensive positioning, I think the team we've got, we can do that. We can adapt. Yeah. But no, it should be good.
I heard there was some pretty genius coaching advice from yourself in the first time out. Can you share with us what that was?
And the first time out, if we just throw it to each other in the box and score another goal, then we'll be 1 more point ahead.
That's why you coached Australia, isn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. I think you assisted me in that. So.
All right, very good. Well, best of luck for the second half.
Thanks,
guys.
All right, and so we've come back to the second half, and it'll be Pie Wagon pulling the disc. And we'll just pass over to Simon and Holly Reeve. They'll have a bit of a chat now.
Here with Holly Reeve from Pie Wagon. The message in the huddle there was pretty chirpy. Good mood among it.
Yeah. I think everyone's feeling pretty good, and the message is basically just keep that up. I think we all knew we're being a strong team so far this season, and it's shown through our games. And so the message has been replay those first 5 points.
And what's any other key messages for this second half that you're going to focus on?
I think focus itself is kind of the key message. I think a little bit in the middle there, we got a bit lazy on defense, I guess. Bit of switching off, and so key focus is simply just to focus.
Let's get back to the game. Thanks,
No,
Holly.
see some great movement there between Prentice and Egan Griffin, and you'll notice that we've got the 3 ladies of OG squad back handling, and the boys downfield. Guckin's sitting very deep. Very, very deep.
Cupcake's pulling him under now.
Egan Griffin looking for Prentice. Sends it to Seb, who's now come back to help out.
Problem here.
Tullett comes across. Looking to give go up the line again. Oh, it sends it to Rob Andrews across field. That is beautiful.
Very nice.
The tight shirt is working
he's saying,
for him.
Get around me.
Get excited.
He's
it's
doing
now
the
8-all.
Snow Angels.
This is back to evens. He looks a bit puffed, maybe.
He does look a bit puffed.
The celebration was maybe a bit too much.
You can see every cell within his skin pulsing because of that shirt. It is just that tight. Nice, to be fair, nice contest by the Pie Wagon player to try and make an effort and make a go of it. But when you're throwing a nice flat backhand out to the break side, there's not a lot many players can do.
Absolutely.
Particularly when your opponent's named Rob Andrew.
But OG Squiddos did a great job there to work that up the field. They just worked it amongst their handlers. Happy to just do a couple of give-goes until their opportunity presented itself downfield.
Could not have asked for a better start to the second half of the OG Squiddos. That was exactly what they wanted. Nice, no-turn offense. Get their defense back out there. Get Pie Wagon thinking more about how they're going to put in their O's than convert their D's.
So we're at even score. This is big. This is the final that we wanted. Gold medal match here at 8-all after half. And Folksy looking to get the disc and wants to quickly centre it to Locko Wise. Locko Wise looks off Greening.
Just free.
Sends it back to Folks. And Folks goes through the middle and hits Hill, who just drops it.
Wind has dropped right off, though, as well. So this, if it is punched in by OG Squiddos,
this potentially is the first chance for Squiddos to get in front this whole game.
Rob Andrew up the front, cutting everyone else off. Shakes and bakes, can't get anything, decides to get out, goes around to the dump position. Tullett then engages him. They move back, but the stack doesn't adjust. They move backwards again. Stack still hasn't adjusted. The stack is 40 metres from the disc right now. So everyone from Pie Wagon quite rightly marking under.
Peely.
Has to rip a huge break to Peely. Peely looks to go upstairs, elects not to. Goes to Tullett, resets. Tullett resets to Peely. The bromance continues. Lo and behold, back to Tullett. Tullett break backhand. It's going to be a pick.
Pick is called, though. Pick was called. And
really nice and early.
Lefty did stop.
Yeah, fair to say. McGuckin won't be arguing with Chris Stoddard on that one.
They're having a bit of a chat about the distance, though.
Yeah. Well, it was out the break side, to be fair to Sam.
So Tullett looking to really direct the play here.
I reckon Lefty might have a shiv stored in his sock.
So Tullett's got the disc. And he's waiting to be told when everyone's set and ready to go. Looking at McGuckin. And Andrews gets the nod. And there's Spragg all on her own. Break side. Not quite in. Oh, nice bid. Great bid there. Wonderful bid from Hayes.
Yep.
And Andrews gets it, and that is the first time that OG Squiddos have led all game. So they've come out after half, and they've gotten the first 2 quick scores, and they've now taken a bit of control of the game. This is not what we saw at the start, so OG Squiddos seem to have hit their stride.
Good test for Wagon now. This will mean that this is the first time in the game they're not really getting it all their own way. So
is this potentially the first time in the tournament that Wagon have been down?
Yep, there's every chance.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they react to this mentally and what they decide to do.
So you see Sprague getting the first break and then getting the continuation down that break side to Rob Andrew.
So a bit of a chat from Wagon. Earlier in the game, they were having everyone come to those lines and having a bit of a chat and finding out what the strategy was. Now there's just one person. So a bit of a shift there. We'll have Andrews pulling again. And pulls the disc. It's, oh.
Is that going out the back?
So Loco Wise is called brick.
Called it pretty
oh,
early
offside. No, called offside,
Way!
sorry. So offside was
Alrighty.
called. There's a bit of
Are they
confusion
calling
on the field
offside?
as to what actually happened there.
Well, I think the
So
confusion
offside was
stems
called.
from the fact that they've got the brick already. So you
Yeah.
usually wouldn't call the offside if you already can take the brick. That said, what it does now is that was their first and only warning.
Yep.
So any offside from this point on automatically becomes a brick, I believe.
So interesting that they've chosen to call that. It's not often that actually happens, but so that means?
Well, it just means
So-
OG Squiddos have to be on there.
Yeah,
have to be sharp
absolutely.
for the rest of the game. That's not a bad thing.
No, absolutely. I mean,
The
that
rule
is within the
exists.
rules.
The rule exists for a reason.
100%. So Andrew's having a bit of a chat to the game advisor there to just clarify exactly what OG Squiddos are allowed to do.
And it's got to be said also that whilst it does seem like a harsh rule, there is an element of common sense that the game advisors provide.
So Andrews pulls again. This time it rolls, lands in, and Folkes sends it to Wise. Back to Folkes.
Stoddart's
Outside,
fine.
oh, finds a gap to Reeves.
Nice from Stoddart.
Reeves, oh, done very
Greening's
well.
out the back.
And she has been dominating, but Dennis is there. Oh,
Good read.
Dennis
I think
manages
there's
to
a
pull it
call.
down.
There's a call.
So there is a contact foul called. So they'll have a bit of a chat about it.
I think that this is a little bit difficult because both players were trying to get a read on the disc.
So we have a look here. Both go up.
Uncontested foul.
It looks pretty, I mean, looking at the footage here, but we have the advantage of being able to see it.
I think it was that first.
I don't think that there
I
was.
think, if anything, they're saying it was that first step
Oh,
because it's been uncontested.
okay, uncontested. All right. So, oh, and
It's a goal.
that's a
That's
goal
Jess
to
Stoddart.
Stoddard.
So for those at home thinking that we're calling the same names over and over, particularly for Newcastle, you're right, because there are 2 Hills, 2 Stoddards. There's also a Shellard. I think that's about it.
Yeah. So a couple of double names there. All right, so OG Squiddos pumping up their teammate Adelaide for getting in that contest there.
Absolutely, did everything right. I think there was just a little bit of contact on that first.
Yeah,
it
when
wasn't
she's
on the
gone
actual
to jump
catch
up.
itself. It was
Yeah,
it
on
was
the
that.
feet. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So just a little bit of feet touching at the start there, which prevented her from Greening from being able to get up and get the disc.
But what's really impressive is that the Australian Mixed Ultimate Final, there's a point in it.
Yep.
That is essentially for a goal. It's not a goal, and it was uncontested. And the other great thing about Australian Mixed Ultimate Finals was exactly that, the buckets of chicken. That's what this is all about. If you've been knocked out, that's okay. Things don't go your way. You just get a bucket of KFC.
All right. So we have Chris Hill pulling again. As predicted at the start of the game, he would do most of the pulls for Wagon. And OG Squiddos to receive. And Egan Griffith picking up the disc. She's been doing wonderful work
all
as a
weekend.
handler.
Been a weapon all weekend.
And Bar,
Junk.
a
It's a
bit
junk,
of a
Beck.
junk. Yep, put on, back to Egan Griffith. And the sideline's counting, which we would expect to see transition fairly soon.
Cuppers is gone.
And it looks like they've gone to match now, but there's a bit of confusion.
Seb doesn't have a count, so They're not going to be too fast. He's probably going to get a count now, shortly with TLB.
So Lindsay
no
Brown
count.
is still sitting out in that lane. Now he just gets tight on Ely.
Now, finally, Sebbar gets a count.
And Tullett left on his own under.
Ely's going, but so's Edwards. It's a little bit clogged out the back.
Oh, Griffin does great little shimmy there to get free.
George is tearing it a freshie this game. Absolutely stellar play.
So Tullett wanting it up the line, tries to get in, doesn't quite make it. Chile standing there, not allowing him to get much of a pivot there, and Egan Griffin just walks it in.
How is Tullett?
Egan Griffin.
Like a double access or something.
Yeah, absolutely. But Egan Griffin, she was nearly every second or third pass there.
Yeah, all weekend has been, and the best thing, as we've said before, best thing is it's mainly about the width, looking to attack the width, open up the field for the rest of her team and the rest of the stack to capitalise.
So what I spotted there, Andrew and Beck, was Pie Wagon were running that transitional zone, and what they were doing is they were counting the passes, which meant they were going to change to match defence on a pass count. So the Squiddos, they just stopped burning up the cuts and just worked the disc between the handlers just to burn the count and just basically enforce that transition to match.
And there was a little bit of confusion as well.
Nearly got his foot.
So this is Cupcake or Tom Tullett trying to go zero gravity, but eventually the end zone line was good enough for Egan Griffiths.
Though you look at that pass, there was a bit of wobble in that.
It was a bit of wobble.
A little bit of wobble. Maybe not the best throw from Tullett, but that's all right. Got their goal in the end, and they're back in front. 10-9 to OG Squiddos. Pie Wagon looking to even the scores. Andrews sends it up, and it'll land deep into the end zone. Folks again stopping the roll, centering it to Wise. He looked to send it,
Chris
but
Stoddard was going. Instead
holstered it instead. Oh, Stoddard goes to get the inside throw. Oh, Ely nearly getting that D. Sends it.
Hayes and Greening.
Oh!
Both misread it.
So Andrews jumped early then.
Yeah, I think forced Hayes into it as well.
Absolutely. Made Hayes was a bit nervy about Andrews getting it, so he's jumped at the same time, and the disc has just flown over them. Wind's picked up a little bit now.
Deep stack. Nice throw. Nice big gainer out to Joshi Phillip. Joshi Phillip has a break. It goes upstairs to hit that break with Pete Ely. Daniela Flores comes under. Ely instead goes a slight break to Adelaide Dennis. Adelaide Dennis has McGuckin free, but lefty comes in. That's Chris Stoddard
floats it out
with the
too
poach.
much.
And now Locko Wise, and he's got Hayes free, but doesn't like it because he sees that that's Rob Andrews with him. Instead hits Greening. Greening on the attacking brick mark, goes back to Stoddard. This is Chris Stoddard, no mark coming on. McGuckin eventually gets towards it.
Andrews giving his player a lot of space.
Yeah. Phillip hits Jess Stoddard. Jess Stoddard looks to the inside flick, can't get it.
Oh, Chris Folks, just a bit of a dance
A little bit
there.
of shake and bake.
Oh,
Peter Ely!
Oh,
Get
what
around
a
him.
great day.
And
Greening even giving him accolades.
Credit to Greening, says, you know what, that wasn't bad, but he saw the dangerous space at the front cone. Gives a little bit of a slap down.
Hayes has called his teammates down, saying, come on sideline, get around us, we need you, we need you. Realising that this could be a shift. So Andrews with the disc. Dennis streaming deep. Andrews sends it. But Dennis has stopped running. And we've got Phillip underneath. Oh, he jumps up to grab it. Oh! Scrambles to get to his feet, but just can't do it. Wise quickly picks it up. Sends it to Folks. OGs are trying to find their players. Getting a little bit lost here.
Great throw.
Throws it to Greening. Greening centers it.
Hill.
Hill's got it in the center, looking for a dump now. Oh, makes Folks work. Manages to get it to him. Back to Hill.
Fatigue's creeping in now, Beck.
Absolutely. But Andrews still just sitting in this lane, allowing his player to get free.
Phillip. That's a great break by Folks to Jess Stoddard. Jess Stoddard up to Tim Hayes.
Oh.
McGuckin goes up and gets it. That's a big turn.
He has a bit of a look at the sideline as well, doesn't he?
He likes it, but I think there's going to be an injury.
Yep, Phillip is coming off. I think that scramble to get that disc, that second attempt.
Sebbar won the rock off between himself and Toulay.
And
Pie Wagon are going to run a switch as well. Hill coming off.
Looks like Hill's coming off for Pie Wagon. And it looks like Crow's coming on to replace her.
right, it's going to be tapped in.
And disc is in.
OG Squiddos have a chance.
And Bar, who's fresh on, replacing Phillip for the injury, is going to pick up the disc.
And Crow for Hill.
Yep.
On Pie Wagon.
All right.
Comes under, gets separation from Lachlan Wise. On it by Bar.
Oh.
Ely big.
Sees
Backhand break.
Oh,
Crow.
The fresh legs. Comes on to Stoddard.
Oh,
Stoddard.
no.
Oh. I think Wise was thinking about the next throw. Oh, and pick called.
Ooh, pick
Interesting.
Pick
Interesting.
and transition.
All right. Okay.
I don't know where.
Who was he marking?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I'm not going to argue with a man
With
that
a
has a
haircut
haircut
like
as
that.
rude as that.
Who knows who's
He's
going to...
been places. He's
we
seen
know
things.
who's coming second best off in that one, hey.
That.
All right. Disc is in now. Centres it straight to Spragg. Doesn't have much options downfield. Andrews presents.
Once deep.
Oh, bit of a fumble of the disc there. Even he knew that. Looks back to Bar. This wind has picked up a little bit.
They're not doing it easy, are they?
Back to Andrews. Andrews looks at McGuckin, but Folks stops that there. Ely streaming, he wants it. But there's just not... Oh,
Whoa.
oh.
Good friends, Folks and Bar.
Yeah,
Making better
teammates for
friends.
a while. Played on Monash, I believe.
think Folks
Monash
had just
Uni.
had enough of Bar taking him up the line. He goes, I'm going to step in front of you, mate. You backpack me. And well, that worked. So, yeah. Foul
All
called
right.
by Folks, not contested by Bar. Bar goes up the line again. Oh, Hayes even off the mark had half a dip at that. Bar wants the inside break.
Spragg. Oh,
Gets it.
Spragg, there's Ely wide open and manages
Good
to
job.
get it. Bit of flow there. Bit of flow. Oh,
Seb doing
Bar
something that
just-
looks like a fortnight dance or
oh,
something.
I don't know. Interesting choice of dance moves. And Pie Wagon have called a timeout.
All right.
So we asked, had they been down in a game yet? They're now down by 2. So they're feeling the pressure a little bit.
All right, so Beck and I,
Absolutely feeling
we might duck out. We'll see if we can hear the message from each team. Beck will bring you back the Pie Wagon update, and I'll see what dance moves the OG Squiddos are busting out.
Thanks, Beck and Andrew. We see that layout block from Pete Ely again, and lots of high flying action, hard hitting too. We've noticed from the sideline that things are getting quite physical out there. And looking at the spirit scores across the tournament, many teams actually averaging below 1,000 body contact. 7 teams ranked below a 2 on average. So in winter conditions, that's expected. There's always a lot of play in close quarters, things hovering around the disc. So naturally there is going to be some collisions, but as we see some action here. So what we've also noticed is that OG Squiddos are continuing with this one direction cutting. They're setting the stack very deep and just backing themselves in a foot race towards the disc. In the first half of the game, Pie Wagon had the upper hand in being able to cover all them, but as the game wears on, they're starting to slow just a fraction. And speedsters like Pete Ely, Adelaide Dennis, Rob Andrews, they're starting to get the upper hand, winning those foot races and getting ahead. And of course, time's starting to become a factor here too. We're under 10 minutes to time cap. At this stage, we might not get to 15 as a score cap. So Beck, it looks like we're in for a very close finish here if the game continues the way it is.
Absolutely, and the message there from Pie Wagon is that the OG Squiddos have definitely amped up their pressure. And the message that was given was that good teams, what separates good teams from great teams is how they respond to that pressure. And so Pie Wagon obviously looking to go back to the game that they were playing before, not accepting that pressure, and just taking the smart options and not forcing throws. There's a bit of talk about how they've been forcing throws, and just saying that on D, they need to start matching the OG Squiddos with their pressure. So they're looking to amp it up on defense and looking to just keep it calm on offense. Andrew, what was the word at OG Squiddos?
Someone said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the rest of the team said Squiddos.
Great,
that
good play.
That was as deep as it got. So, by comparison, Jake Angelovic's kind of coaching messages are looking pretty good by comparison.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, there was seriously, there was no message.
Okay,
they're obviously pretty happy with where they're at.
Pie Wagon are looking to come out on O. Let's see if they manage to play this calm offense that has been asked of them by their captain. So hands up, Pie Wagon are ready to go. They've been waiting a little while. Andrew sends it.
Offside again.
Offside.
Here we go. So that's an automatic brick, I believe.
So that's the second offside.
So that's a brick, yeah.
So OG Squiddos are walking back to the line, but they're asking the game advisors what they do. They've found
It's attacking brick, is it?
that they get to take it at brick.
But but it's. I think the discussion is what brick are they
Which
taking
brick
it?
mark do they take it from?
A
And it's the
regular
brick
brick.
mark down their end. So
Confusion reigns.
there
here.
is, yeah, where is Rubenberg when you need him?
Yeah.
Give us our
It's halfway.
rules.
Sorry,
Okay,
take it
halfway. Take it halfway.
Split the difference.
All right, to Reeves. Reeves, quick pass.
Go on,
to
Locko, have a
Wise.
dip.
Oh.
Didn't have a dip.
Interesting, there was a little bit of contact there between McGuckin and
Early
Wise.
on in the
And
cut,
McGuckin kind of pulled out. Wise decided to keep going and hasn't called anything.
Yeah.
So,
Well, reciprocity is important, so we'll see now between McGuckin and Wise just what kind of marking style that they have on one another. As we see Barr cross it over to Egan Griffiths. Nice flat throw to Rob Andrew. Egan Griffiths goes up the line, then clears out, comes back around. Now Egan Griffiths and Barr are in the same spot, so Rob can't do much.
but
Very
now,
uneasy.
Barr is unmarked. No,
Nope.
Hayes has done well to get
like
there.
it. Great
Hayes did
inside
very
try.
well.
Barr,
Back to
Egan
Egan
Griffiths.
Griffiths.
I just heard someone on the sideline call Egan Griffiths the washing machine. She's just going round and round and getting it.
Flores working to get open, but Egan Griffith, there we go, washing
Yeah,
machine.
Washing machine, but a good washing machine, like a Fisher
Yeah, that was,
pump,
no,
not
that
like
was
a Kogan.
actual. Oh, Barr sends it. But McGuckin wasn't quite ready, but he's going to get there.
Oh, no, puts it down.
Oh. Reeves kind of in the way there, but
Did
he doesn't
enough.
care. Just
Yeah, but
keeps
did enough.
going.
Credit to
But,
Reeves,
yeah,
just said, you know what,
just-
I'm going to make it as hard for you as
If
possible.
we have a
which
look
he did.
here, he's got the edge, and he just, when he gets down,
It was
doesn't have
almost,
control.
almost half a
Just
ground
does
strip,
not have
yeah.
control.
I think he was in 2 minds as he go for the clap catch
All
or
right,
one hand.
Stoddard with the disc on the far side.
Great gain at a hill.
Folks, to Wise, and they're streaming past him. Lots of options here.
That's a problem, Beck. Too many. 2 went to the same
And
spot.
Stoddard wants it. Oh, Andrew's right on his tail there. Stoddard now on the sideline,
good
looking
matchup,
for a
this
dump to Folks up the line. Thinks about going, but pulls out.
Yeah, I think
There is a pit called, but the disc will stay with Wise, probably about, what, 6 metres out from the front of the end zone?
yeah. So where do you reckon he's looking, Beck?
Oh, he's looking at Reeves. There we go.
You are kidding.
Oh, Seb's
Oh, get around her. That is sick.
Seb had a taste. He tried to get in there. And Reevesy just too good a read.
Holly Reeves knows. She knows Locko well enough to know the kind of garbage he puts up, and she was all over it. That is an exceptional grab. And at a critical time, too. We're not just talking, in isolation. That keeps Pie Wagon in it. She drops that or Seb gets that D. It's OG Squiddos looking to put a dagger in. Instead, it's a massive grab to keep them 1 point inside.
Yeah, Pie Wagon have absolutely shifted the momentum from that point. We thought McGuckin had that safe, but I was keeping an eye on the Egan Griffiths versus Greening battle. Greening was just way too loose on Egan Griffiths. We know the OG Squiddos always look to return the disc to her just in front of the stack there. It was just way too loose to marking. Greening needs to play a lot tighter on it, deny that first look to Egan Griffiths on each time, and make Squiddos keep working laterally.
It's interesting looking on that replay. Spragg was there, but just didn't go up for the bid. And Barr did, and I think if they'd both gone up, it probably would have been a foul or a contact, but at least it puts that extra pressure on Reeves.
Yeah, look, I think Reeves took it at full extension and at full
Absolutely.
height, so she gets full credit. Maybe Barr should have spent a bit more time in the gym on the lower body and not the upper body, as his tight shirt suggests, but
So
Holly Reeves deserves
Hills
full credit.
pulls it, and they talked about amping up the pressure, so this is their opportunity to do it. All right,
Females ISO, you called it, Beck. This is the
Yeah,
real strength of
Prentice
OG
to-
Squiddos. Ely's gone.
Egan Griffith, doesn't look at it. Prentice working hard to get free.
That's the thing, Beck. They don't need to shoot deep here. They're
Yeah,
getting
they're just bouncing it around.
nothing beyond a 3 count right now.
Oh, and they're just easy does it. Oh, Prentice looks to go. Oh, a bit behind, making Egan Griffith really reach for it.
This is brilliant.
Now, these players have played together a lot, and so they're finding it
There's
really
there's
easy
an
to
injury.
know.
There's an injury here.
No, I think it's a pick was called.
No, it may have been an injury in the backfield.
No,
or a
no,
foul
our
back
game
here.
advisors are signalling a pick there. So I think a pick was called as E. Griffith, no, Sprague. They're trying to decide who had it. They're just moving so quick. Who had the disc? I don't know.
And it looks chaotic, but it's controlled chaos.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they are deliberately moving. They're not doing it because the defense is forcing them to. They're doing it because they want to.
Absolutely.
And that's a
they've,
big difference.
They've played together that long. They know exactly where they're going to cut. They know the movements. They know the throws.
Okay,
They just read each other so well.
So they're going to talk about what the count came in on, but I haven't really seen a count
Yeah,
past
neither
one.
have I.
So,
Coming in on
but
0,
I don't
that's
think
the
it matters.
decision.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Can't
right.
even keep track.
With Sprague, we see Andrews is out on the side on his own.
Nice.
But these girls are just ripping it up.
This is
They are
fierce.
working so hard. And throw to Tullett.
Whoa! He got it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Shellard.
Yep,
the
so it's
call
a
is
bit of
he
a
out of bounds?
talk.
That's the
Bit
ask.
of a talk. So in Griffiths, she says it's in. She's calling it in.
We're
She's
going to
calling
hit
it
a
a
game
goal.
advisor who's great position.
And it's a goal. Called as a goal.
goal.
So
Too
they
late.
worked, those 3 girls,
Yeah.
they worked it all the way up to the field.
Yep, to pass the attacking brick mark.
Yep, they were about 1 metre outside the end zone before they finally hit that stack. And good of the OG Squiddos to give them that space to do that. They kept their defenders accountable upfield because Pie Wagon were nervous that that big throw was going to come up at any point. Look here, squeezing it up the line.
Shellard, great beard.
Oh, just a bit too late.
And Tullett did really well to keep his back foot down.
So that's
Shellard
a
almost
goal.
had his 3rd layout D
Yeah.
on
Tullett, absolutely.
Today, this game.
All right,
All right, that was
Siren's
a
gone.
siren. So what does that mean?
so that means this current point's already started. So this point will continue to play out. Then once this point ends, we look at the highest score. We add 1 to that high score, and that's what we're playing to. So it will depend on who scores this as to what the game is
So
going
it'll either
to.
be a game to 13 or a game to 14.
Yes, correct. So we've got OG Squiddo winning at the moment, beating Pie Wagon by 2. And Pie Wagon just struggling to get back in front. So Tullett to pull the disc. And I don't know that that's going to come in. It's sitting. Gee, if you wondered if there was
That's
wind.
tough. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
No.
That, gee.
So they're going to ask where to take it from.
I think they're going to
The
take that
midfield,
sideline.
the crowd at the midfield are pointing to towards Pie Wagon's end zone, so it's at least past halfway.
So it looks like we're going at about halfway is the decision by the looks of it. So Folks is going to take the disc on the sideline, marked by Tullett. Centers it straight away. Oh, and it's a big one to Reeve, but Dennis...
Oh, takes it! She's unstoppable right now!
All right, so it's a
Buy
game.
some stocks in Holly Reeve. She's not dropping them.
Oh, Dennis, you'd be killing yourself, wouldn't you? Oh, my gosh, that's so tough. You think you've got that D, you think you've smacked it enough to get it away from the offense, and they just come and just grab it. Oh, all right, so we have a game to 13 now.
Holly Reeve has looked at the Pie Wagon train and just said, you know what? I'm going to slap you on the backs and drag you over the line myself.
All right, Pie Wagon called a timeout. They know now that it's a game to 13, and they're going to be pulling the disc to OG Squiddos. So we're going to head out, have a quick listen.
Okay. So OG Squiddos now, they've got their downwind shot. But you often see, and they've got 2 shots at it, because OG Squiddos up by 1, which means they're going to see 2 offensive points.
Absolutely.
The first one is a downwind. I get a little bit worried sometimes when that lulls a team into a false sense of security and they start shooting. And if, in the case it doesn't go, doesn't come off, then they've got the opposite problem, and they're like, oh no, we need to go and punch it in upwind. So I think they need to exercise a little bit of caution, a little bit of patience, because they know if they turn it, you just don't want to leave it to chance. What would you say to Pie Wagon, Beck?
Pie Wagon, I think they need to go back to their original defense, which is shutting down those first couple of passes, because as we've seen, OG Squiddos don't have another option if their first throw doesn't come off. So you're looking to really clamp down for those first 5-6 seconds, really make OG Squiddos second guess that first initial play that they want to do. and just stop them in their tracks, because if they don't get those first couple of passes off quickly, they get completely lost. And then looking at OG Squiddos, I mean, play through their women. That's what's been working.
Oh, totally. Totally. Particularly that last point. I think Pie Wagon's team across the board were probably a bit shocked at just how full on that was. That's the first time we've seen it as a really deliberate ISO. So
looks like they're Pie Wagon are matching up. They're figuring out who's going to take who, and it looks like we'll have a match defense.
This is the time to do it. This is the one time of the game you don't want to have a mismatch or have two people run at the same player. That would be a genuine heartbreaker. Jess Stoddard smiling Riley on the sideline going, why did you say it? We don't need that, Moz. But Beck, in all seriousness, I think regardless of how the next point or two goes, I think this is the final that everyone wanted.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Chris Hill has been pulling all day for Pie Wagon, sends it up, and as we said, the girls look like they're hanging back with the disc, nearly dropped there. All right, Ian Griffith, quick movement straight away, looks to send it to Bart. Tullett is streaming, and Bart sends it up with 3 defenders around him, and he gets it! He gets it!
And Bart's got the shirt off, he's got the rig out! Look at him go!
And there were 3 Pie Wagon defenders. They all went, they saw Tullett.
They knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming, they saw Bart get it, but you know what? Those girls, they set that up.
Yeah, because everyone was afraid of the same thing.
Absolutely.
The last defensive point from that end was a pretty fierce female ISO, so all the eyes went there. But this time, really smart by OG Squiddos, worked it, but then engaged what we now can see was their primary pair in Bar and Tullett.
Now, you called it. I called Pie Wagon to win the game because I looked at the history. They were undefeated.
I did.
So they played so well in the lead up to this game. The highest score against them was 10. And I honestly think that they didn't know what to do when they started losing because they hadn't experienced that before the game.
Fantastic. All right, well, that's, as I said, Beck, that's definitely the final that we wanted. We see the OG Squiddos down at half, grinded back to take it out 13-11. We'd like to make a very special shout out to a number of people, including the tournament directors. Alti.tv doing a fantastic job coming down, not only streaming one, but multiple games. Really appreciate that, giving the people what they want. The City of Bendigo doing a really excellent job. Anna Haynes, really appreciate all the volunteers as well and the work that goes into setting up something like this. So Beck, thank you very much. It's been fantastic. Simon, thank you to yourself for putting all the commentators together.
And Gemma, who was here yesterday.
Gemma for Friday and yesterday.
Absolutely. So
really appreciate the Ultra TV crew. That's it for us. As we can see, Seb Bar running around with his rig out. That's probably going to be the enduring image, unfortunately, of the
burned into our scalps for the rest of the
Mixed Nats. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next year. Have a good time.